I didn't do that. I need external headphones. Come on, you stupid fuck.
Check.
How are those in your headphones?
Perfect. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. Oh, come on. No.
Are mics on?
They will be. Oh, they're on right. Oh, yeah, we are.
Do this in prime time, under the bright lights for you on the sidelines, and fans in the stands keeping doubly bright high. The gridiron fly guys, the green and the gold, yeah, they call it the franchise. The gizmos, the miles, the moves, the Kepleys, old spaghetti legs, Ricky Ray, Willie Bless, and whoever comes next to bring back the chip and add another brick to the legacy. Cause it's double E over everything. Double E is a legacy. Double E over everything. Double E, we rising up.
The Edmonton Elks return to Commonwealth Stadium for their home opener, coming off a bye week and looking to bury the memory of a tough week one loss in BC. A stalled offense with no flow, missed chances in the kicking game, and a defense searching for stops tonight. They look to flip that script, but standing in their way, it is the Montreal Alouettes, led by Davis Alexander and built like beasts from the East. It's the Edmonton Elks. It's the Montreal Alouettes. Thursday Night Football, play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. But first, this is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, presented by Play Alberta, live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, who heard us a little bit before the show started as well. I don't have podcasts for today. Iwanyk, Jay Milne with you here as we are a little over an hour's wait time from the Edmonton Elks' second game of the 2025 campaign as they're hosting the Montreal Alouettes. Jay, How you doing?
I'm doing well. Sorry. Apparently I burped into the microphone as I sat down here. So yeah, I do appreciate Big Uke saying that was a nice push. I agree. I'm doing great, Maddie. It's a game day. It's a home opener.
It's always
the
great.
weather has turned. It's going to be a beautiful evening.
Thanks for calling me a rookie producer over here.
You're
just
welcome.
on that one.
I'm just excited to be here again as we come off the bye week. I missed you last week. I can honestly say that. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to be with the Nasties and talking some football.
I just saw the boys at the tailgate. They sold a scarf.
Did they?
I got a little my email notification.
Oh, they've got like a little unit there.
E-transfer.
E-transfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look at the boys. We got Trev. We got Benny down at Commonwealth Stadium in the tailgate area.
What a tough job, eh?
Stuff.
Hang out at the tailgate.
We've got some chips. We've got some waters. Dusty was trying to take some chips before.
Was he?
Yeah. As we were about to start the hangout, he's like, "Can Matt, can I have some Pringles?" I was like, "No."
Okay, let me ask you this though: if he just opened it and took a few packages of Pringles, would he be subject to the same discipline or, I guess, ramifications that a lowly co-host like me would be?
Well, no, I can't do much about it
because he's the boss.
But what I would say is, and as I said this on the hangout, and I'll look at the Nasties on this one, that's Dusty taking it from you.
Oh,
and that's just unacceptable. So I put it. I'd make him feel bad.
Well,
that's how I can get.
You
it.
have
the rest of you. I could just be like get mad at you. With him, I will go with I'll make you feel bad.
You have an amazing talent at being able to do that. So congrats.
We will get to the starting lineup right away here. I was just telling Jay before we jumped on here too. Like last year, we did the Green and Gold Kickoff show for the first time here on Edmonton Sports Talk. So I was able to have everything set up, ready to go before the show would start. Before that, and then had a year off. This is the first time I've had to do one where it's like, oh, we've got 5 minutes, and I was a little later on than that because something wasn't working with my computer. But so I'm just catching up on where my papers are. But let's get to the starting lineup for your Edmonton Elks. I think I got this properly on the screen for YouTube. I did that last night. Trey Ford is your starting quarterback once again for the Double E. The men protecting him from left to right. Ivy, Cordy, Beard, McKellar, and Boyko. The receiving court, Dunbar, Gittins Jr., Mathis, Julian Grant. Rankin, the starting running back. Green is the fullback. I also forgot Arkell Smith there in the receiving court. Defensively on the D-line, Barlow, Brinkman, Serezna, Smith. The linebacking core in between Morgan in between Anderson and Jackson, and out in the secondary, Bynum, Rugamba, Metier, Williams, and Ford. Blanchard still is the kicker. We will discuss that. Grace is punting, and Leak will start kickoff and return duties. Jay, what do you got for injury report? Well,
to start the week, I mean, Brett Boyko was still listed on the injury report. I mean, this was as close as 2 days ago. But yesterday I walked through, Brett Boyko was there. Martez Ivy was there. Arkell Smith is there. So that's great news because we're going to get into this. I know we are. But I wonder about the importance of right tackle Brett Boyko and how much he means to this team. I think it's a huge deal that he is back in the lineup. Now, Noah Curtis, okay, is still listed, Maddie, on... from the Elks as on the 6-game list.
Because there's no other list to put them on.
But as you said,
he's out for the season.
He's done for the year.
They announced that he's out for the season with the injury that he has. So Noah Curtis will not be taking part in the 2025 Edmonton Elks season. Big loss on that D-line.
Thank goodness they have depth there.
Yeah. No, losing Noah Curtis, and that happened at Fan Day. That one hurt, and they announced it. Can't remember when they announced it. But sometime last week they announced that Noah Curtis done for the season. But it is nice that Brett Boyko will be back in the lineup. When you look at the Montreal, the team that the Edmonton Elks will face tonight, some of the key players: Davis Alexander, he's perfect, 6-0 as a starting quarterback in the Canadian Football League. Receiving core, they have one of the best, if not the best, receiving cores. Tyson Philpott has picked up where he left off last year when he got injured, and Austin Mack is a talented receiver that spent some time with the Atlanta Falcons, I believe, last year before coming back to the Montreal Montreal Alouettes. Defensively, Darnell Sankey is the leader of that defense in the middle linebacker spot. And the defensive line in 2 games, they've got 5 sacks, which wasn't something good for the Edmonton Elks 2 weeks ago, I should say, when they were trying to protect Trey Ford. They did have their struggles on that, and as Jay said, we will get to that. I do have a weather forecast from Josh Clausen. I text him, hey, what's the forecast for the Elks? 7 to 10. He sent me this. Cloudy with a few sunny breaks. Temperature around 16 at kickoff, closer to 12, 13 degrees by 10 o'clock tonight. Wind northwest 10 to 20 kilometers an hour. Keeping an eye on a few showers and thunderstorms north of the city, but they're weakening and not moving much. You'll think they'll fizzle out by 7 o'clock. So it's not a 0% chance of a shower, but it's a really, really low risk. But a little bit of wind maybe to the 10 to 20, which might not go well for kicking if it all gusts.
Stop it.
If it all gusts. Go ahead. Where you're going to say.
Well, I don't want to take away anything we're going to talk about. I know this is a point, but I will just say, look, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody. I have been hard on kickers. I'm always hard on kickers. I'm always hard on refs. That's just me. You just have to get used to that, folks. We had Jed Roberts on our show earlier, and he shares the same viewpoint as I do as kickers. Is they have one job. That's all they do at practice. Now, I will say this, and I'm sure we'll get to this clip later, but here's the thing, Matt. Mark Killam believes in this kicker. Mark Killam believes that he can bounce back. If Mark Killam, who is now the head coach of the Edmonton Elks, if you haven't heard, well, where did he cut his teeth? Right? He's been a special teams coordinator with Calgary for several years. Oh, and who's the kicker there?
Rene Paredes.
Right. He's pretty good from what I understand.
Yes.
Okay, so that's maybe a bit of I called it earlier, a stamp of approval. That means a little bit extra more. Coming from a head coach who's come from a background of special teams, saying, no, we believe in him. We've seen what he can do in practice. Maybe he had a bit of the yips in week 1. Okay, that's going to happen. I've had the yips on the golf course. I'm sure you have. I've had the yips in real life. It happens. Okay? So that's what I'll say right now as we kick into the rest of your scheduled programming here.
I don't know what to make of this Jay Milne that I'm getting right now.
What do you mean
with kickers?
I'm just saying. Hey, you know what? At some point you just got to say, look, this kicker who has the leg to get it done.
Yeah, and
his misses in week 1 were all identical, leaking to the left. That's something you can figure out. When you're kicking a ball that looks like, do you remember in volleyball where you'd hit like a what do they call it, a floater?
Do I know about volleyball?
Where the ball, yeah, that's true. Where the ball would move around on you. I mean, we've seen kicker just missing the ball. Where you're missing. No, Vincent Blanchard has made good contact. He's just, I don't know, a little bit to the left. So if we, say, hey, well, let's move that a little bit to the right, I think we'll be fine.
We will get to our 3 stories of the game. We've got our keys to an Elks victory. We've got Jay's prediction for the game. We've got our Play Alberta Game Day odds check to come as well. I do want to hear from you, 780-218-9999, or you can jump into the nasty chat on the YouTube. But I do want to get to the question of the night. Jay, I don't know if you know it.
I don't.
Try not to know this. You were also a little bit busy for the last 3 hours, not prepping for this show. I can tell you that much. Having to work on this Reed Wilkins show. Great program today, by the way.
Thank you.
The question of the night. Throw it to you. Throw it to our nasties.
Is this up on Twitter already?
It is.
Is there percentages, options?
There are. This one. Well, you could go a different way, and even one of them is other. You could, but I would like you to specify. But here's the question: your work. Where do the Elks need to grow most after week 1? Offense, defense, kicking, or other, specify.
Well, I don't even have to write them down. Offense.
Would you like to know where 75.3% of the votes have gone?
I guarantee you it's on offense.
You are correct.
I guarantee you it is, because these are educated people, Maddie. They know that the offense looked disorganized. And I almost say that as a positive. Because guess what week last week was? Do you know what week it was in the CFL season?
2.
Well, the first week the Elks played. Week 1. It was week 1 of the CFL season.
Oh, okay? For that game. I see what
you're
saying.
Game.
Yeah.
That's okay-ish at that point. Now, if that same offense comes out and lays an egg, like they did, and here's the thing. We could say all we want about week one. That was a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Then the wheels fell off. And considering how ineffective that offense was, to be going into the fourth quarter against the BC Lions with a 3-point spread, that's not bad. If this offense can get it together and come out, I said it on Reed's show, and I said it like this, Matt. I said it because I didn't know if you could, well, his name's on it.
Not my show. I want you to take over
Our
your
show.
Yeah, there you go.
I said it like this. I said, they got to run the ball early and often. And I said it like that. If they can establish that, Matt, I'm telling you, Jed Roberts was on our show. He says if they run the ball effectively tonight, they win.
Yeah, and they've got an opponent coming to town that's on a shorter week. They got an opponent coming to town that's having to travel east to the west. They've got an opponent that, look, as good as the Montreal Alouettes are, and I don't want to take much away from the Montreal Alouettes because I do believe they are a difficult opponent. I have outright said that I believe the Elks have an 0-3 start coming for the season. Like I wouldn't be shocked by that. I've been trying to say that for months now. The two wins that they do have, though, against, it is Nick Arbuckle and it is Matt Schultz. And Trey Ford, he is the scheduled and listed starter for this team going into the season, unlike those other two teams. So that's the one thing I like. As good as the Owls have looked at times throughout the first 2 weeks, let's see what the Edmonton Elks can do against this Montreal Alouettes team. And I do think there are things that do play in the Edmonton Elks' favor. Big Uke in the nasty chat. He goes offense, got to move the ball down the field. Same with Smith, TM14. He's on your side with offense. The second vote on my Twitter poll was kicking at 16%. Defense is 6.5%, and 2.2% said other, but they didn't specify, even though I asked them to specify. Daniel in the nasty chat, though, he goes kicking. Why did we let Sean White go? Look at him now, one of the best CFL kickers. Well, the one thing, he was one of the best CFL kickers before they let him go. And they didn't let him go. He was a free agent, and he went and he signed with the BC Lions. I don't think there was ever a situation where the Elks chose not to bring him back. I would have to go find. I'd have to go back and read and what the decisioning was as to why he moved on to BC. But I think he wanted to go to BC because that's where, like, I think he spent his offseason, things like that. So it was going back more for home type thing for him. And I don't think there was much that the Elks could have done. Now it's been a tough time for the Edmonton Elks to try to replace him. But I think, and we'll get into the kicking a little bit. The one positive I will have when it comes to Vincent Blanchard is that of his 3 missed kicks 2 weeks ago, that's weird. It's week 2 bye. It's weird. They all went the same way.
Yes.
So
to the left.
Then that's, I think then that's something that can be corrected. I will ask you this before we get to Play Alberta game day odds check here. Given 2 weeks almost to think back on that week 1 loss for the Elks, I came out of that game and went, what I like about that loss, if you're going to like a loss, is that I saw it was an execution thing, not a talent thing.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
100%. They have the ability. They have the players. But I'm sorry, when Stephen Dunbar Jr.'s targeted 4 times and Zach Mathis is targeted 8 times, that's not a recipe for winning. Stephen Dunbar Jr. is by far the best receiver the Elks have. By far. When Justin Rankin runs the ball 7 times, that's not a recipe for victory. So, yes, although the talent's there, I think sloppy offense, sloppy play calling, I will say that, and I know we have some Jordan McSimic offensive coordinator clips coming later in the show. I think he gets the message. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, you did speak to him. And we got those clips because you were down at walkthrough day yesterday. Let's get to our Play Alberta game day odds check for Play Alberta. Download the app today, playalberta.ca as well. Click on EST specials. I will get to those right away here. $50 free bet if you deposit 20 or more and you use EST Sports as the promo code EST Casino. When you deposit 20 or more and get a free $50 casino bonus, or use YEG50 when you deposit 5 or more for a $50 free bet. You can use that $50 free bet on Jay and Matt's big play of the game, as we have that up at Play Alberta. When you click on EST, you got 40 minutes to still go jump in on Jay and Matt's big play of the day. Elks plus 7.5. That means the Elks win or lose by 7 or less. We got the Edmonton Elks defense, 1+ turnover. I think that might just be fumble or interception. I will just throw that one out there.
Okay.
we've got Justin Rankin, 50-plus rushing yards, and then Trey Ford, 225-plus passing and rushing yards combined. That is boosted to plus 450. You could also get on Jay's play of the day, where if you just like Justin Rankin and you just say, I don't care about all that other stuff. Rankin's getting that ball, and he's going to do some things. Jay's got 75-plus rushing yards, boosted to plus 210. We also have the early bird bet, which is the Elks 7.5, and the Stingers at 7.5. They're out in Red Deer to take on Calgary. It's a battle of Alberta in the middle of Alberta for the cities. That is plus 225.
It's not actually in the middle of Alberta.
Well, between Edmonton and Calgary.
It's directly in between Edmonton and Calgary. Well, even not exactly in between.
Well,
it's southern Alberta, but
yeah,
I digress.
Central Alberta, it's considered.
Central.
It is considered Central Alberta. Yes. Dusty's play of the day, Cody Fajardo, touchdown, minus 111.
I like that one.
There's also
I like mine too.
I like ours. I like the lock shot parlay right now, especially with O'Rourke looking like that he's not going to play, and no Drew Brown. Riders, Stamps, Bombers, all to win, plus 300. Not even spread, just straight up to win, plus 300. I may have to jump in on that one. I do like ours. And also, I should part of the Play Alberta day, or game day odds check. The Elks plus 200 on the money line. This spread has moved all week. It has gone from 6 to 7.5 to 6.5 to 6 to 6.5. It is back down to 6.
Is it?
It's at 6. So the Edmonton Elks plus 6 is minus 118. The Elks minus 6 is minus 120. Over under set at 48.5 points. So that's all up at Play Alberta, playalberta.ca.
Babish Stash comes in the inbox, 780-218-9999. Love the J play of the day today. He says, Rankin time. I agree. And Big Dave says, Elks have to grow on offense. The biggest reason they got blown out by the Lions was because the defense was on the field for so long. They got worn down. And I agree with that. And head coach Mark Killam talked about that in the postgame about fatigue. And you need to understand that when the offense is going 2 and out, 2 and out, 2 and out, 2 and out, or even 3 or 4 and out, and not putting together 5, 6, 7, 8 play sustained drives, the defense has no option but to get tired. Okay. So, but saying that, you could even say, did we see the true form of the Elks defense last week, Matt? In the second half, they got wore down. I mean, you cannot expect the defense to keep battling when you're on the field, off the field for a minute, on the field for 10 minutes, right?
Well, I do want to get to our 3 stories now, this is a perfect segue. And the first one is, can the offense find the flow? Can it find that rhythm that you need to be a successful offense? But I do want to point out that there are some reasons why they couldn't get into that rhythm 2 weeks ago out in BC. And there are reasons, and then some of this goes on the defense. Some of this goes somewhat against what you said there, Jay. And you know, we wanted to see them establish the run. It wasn't good enough. Overall, there's a lot of reasons. One, there was no Brett Boyko. And we'll get right away here to something Jordan Maximic said about Brett Boyko coming into the lineup. But we saw that offensive line struggle. We saw Trey Ford struggle. Let's be real. One of the biggest turning points of that game, if not the turning point of that game, may be Trey Ford's interception.
Yep.
Where he said afterwards he didn't have a proper gripping. He underthrew it because he just didn't have that proper gripping to get it to his receiver, and that was on him. You know, I know Glenn Suter on the broadcast thought maybe there's a receiver route. No, that's a bad throw from Trey. That's what we got from Trey afterwards. He was also putting the ball into spots where his receivers were getting crushed. His receivers were getting destroyed. They were going up to try to catch that ball, and they left them vulnerable where the BC Lions were able to hit them and give them some physical pain. He's got to be crisper on that. I'll say this, on some of those receivers, like Gittins Jr., Julian Grant, didn't see much out of them. They need to get open to give Trey a spot to get it to them. But here's one thing I do want to throw your way, because we sit there and say the defense gets tired, but I want to run through the third quarter here for you.
Yeah, let's do it. Yep.
The Elks defense rested. They come out.
Rested as in halftime?
They had halftime.
Okay.
Yep. So they're rested. That's a rest.
Absolutely.
They come out and immediately allow the BC Lions to march down the field. And this is where actually not as much on the defense part of this, but There's not a lot for the offense to somewhat do, but this is also the offense couldn't get a flow. And this is one of the reasons I want to say the offense couldn't get a flow. That's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
But the defense goes on the field, allows the BC Lions to march down the field, get a touchdown. The Edmonton Elks get the football, big return. They do 2 plays. A run that is stuffed, and then they get sacked, minus 6 yards on that offensive possession, missed the field goal. So right there, though, not giving that defense much of a rest after a long drive.
And you're negative 3 points.
But you're negative 3 points, you went minus 6 yards. Then the defense goes back on the field, and they allow a drive for a touchdown. The Elks get the ball. The next possession, it's a touchdown. It's 6 plays. It's 58 yards. But they got that ball back with 1:40 left in the third quarter. The Elks ran 6 offensive plays versus 17. They didn't get a chance to build a flow as an offense. They didn't get a chance to build the flow to keep their defense off the field because the defense was just on the field. But they didn't allow big plays. BC wore the defense down, and the Elks just didn't have that option to build that offensive flow. They had 2 plays offensively, basically, until 1:40 left in the third quarter. There's just no time to build that offense.
Well, part of being an offense is creating your own flow as well and taking advantage of situations. Arkell Smith returned it how many yards?
It was a big return.
40-some yards, I think.
I could pull it up here quickly.
No, it might have even been 60 yards. I mean, he took that well into BC territory.
Oh, it was immediate field goal range. They lost 6 yards, and they were still in field goal range.
Right. So here's the thing. Huge play on an Arkell Smith kickoff return. You come out and run the ball, and I know I've been harping on run the ball, but is that not an opportunity, Matt, where you can say, okay, we just rattled off a huge return. Let's take a shot. How many shots did we see from this offense last week? 0.
There wasn't any.
There wasn't one.
Deep balls, no.
The only shot was when Trey was running for his life and made miraculous plays.
64-yard return.
64-yard return.
To the BC
Take
32.
a shot, man. You've got this defense on their heels. Or at least pretend like you're taking a shot, dump something off for a screen, which we didn't see last week either.
Sure, but I wonder if that's where Jordan McSimic is going out there and he's like, okay, I tried to build a flow, build a rhythm with this offense.
Yep.
So I want to establish that run, and then I want to go for the throw, and we're in field goal range, and boom, off the field.
I know, so you're in field goal range. Take a shot.
And then don't get the ball back till 1:40 left in the third quarter. Like the offense
I know what you're
played.
saying. Yeah.
And so that's why I feel like that was one of the reasons why we saw an offense struggle was that they didn't get the ball much to build that rhythm. And all of a sudden it's the fourth quarter and you're trailing by 10.
Well, then you can't run the ball.
And now you can't run the ball. So you can't establish that flow and you're having to throw the ball. And that's where I think the game just was wonky for them that they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I don't think you see that most football games.
No, and that's why and this is where it comes back to a fast, aggressive start for any team, but particularly for this Oilers team, for this Elks team. I know it's just God. Particularly for this Elks team, I think it means so much more for them to come out and establish something. Okay, something that puts together somewhat of a sustained drive to start the game. I wouldn't be surprised, see how the coin flip goes, to see the Elks come out and take the ball and try to assert themselves immediately in this game.
Interesting.
Okay? Because they need it. Everybody on that sideline needs it. I tell you, I was down at practice this week and it's almost like everybody in that organization and that building needs it. If they can come out and establish that early, that is a huge weight off their shoulders because they weren't able to do that in week 1.
I will say week 1, no Brett Boyko. Jordan McSimic spoke to the fact that Brett Boyko will be in the lineup at the right tackle position for the Edmonton Elks and how important he is to this O-line. No. Oh, that's why I muted my computer. That makes sense.
I mean, that's huge. Brett's obviously a proven veteran in this league. It was an unfortunate deal last week, right? Day 3 injury. So Mark Evans kind of got thrown into the fire game 1 as a rookie on the road, noisy environment. Matthew Betts on the other side. That was a tough deal. So to have Brett back and have those group of 5 guys that are so comfortable working together on the same page, it's going to be a huge benefit to our offense.
And we saw that offensive line really struggle in the game, especially on the right side. McKellar and Evans were getting beat quite a bit. And then Ivy doesn't finish that game. So there was concern going into this week, at least with your tackles might not be there. They're both there. But I'm very we need to see improvement from the offensive line because nothing is going to happen, both running or passing, if the O-line plays the way it did out in BC.
100%. And it's, you say, okay, it's only one position, it's only one O-lineman, but an offensive line moves together. They're like synchronized swimmers when they're on the field. Everything that they do is in unison and everything is connected. Think of a group of players. I don't know if you've seen this or videos like this when basketball players are trying to do defense as a team, a zone defense, and they're all connected by a rope. So when somebody at the point moves and juts out that way, somebody else has got to support that. Think of that as this offensive line. So when one of those key components is missing or out of the lineup, it affects the rhythm and flow and connection of the entire line. That is a huge, huge point leading into this game tonight. Is that Brett Boyko is back, because this isn't just a mediocre offensive. This is a talented 6'7" behemoth that is coming back into that lineman. I mean, they have Sean Oakman on the other side, who I did address on the Reed Wilkins show, our show, as you like to say, or
you can't say our there.
The show I'm on.
That's where you have to stick with my show. It is the Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne.
They got some big dudes on that side of the ball. So having a 6'7" right tackle back in the lineup that is comfortable with this group, comfortable with this offense, it will make. I won't say it will. I'm hoping it makes a difference for Elks fans.
Well, and then it's in the cage, right? You got the protection. You got to do your job. And one thing to open up, for this receiving core, you're going to need to establish that run. How important is it to get Rankin and Leak going to force the Owls defense to know, okay, we've got to stop this run, but then that should open things up for the wide receiver, should it not?
Absolutely. And running the ball opens that up for receivers too, because running the ball opens up play action. Running the ball makes the defense respect that you're going to run the ball and keeps them honest, keeps them engaged and moving forward, as opposed to settling and moving back and getting into zones and getting into throwing lanes. So that's why it seems like it's redundant, but it just means so much to an offense that is able to carry out and sustain drives, is being able to run the ball successfully.
You spoke with Jordan McSimic about the running game of the Edmonton Elks.
That's going to be a huge part of our identity all year. We have a tremendous offensive line. We have two great tailbacks with Rank and Leak. I think Coach Toros does a really nice job coaching those guys up, designing our run game. And we want to use the run game to set the tone for the entire football team. The physicality and all that kind of stuff, dominating up front, that's certainly who we want to be. So yeah, just the way that BC game played out, with the score being what it was in the second half and everything, we just weren't able to establish that game and get as much as we wanted on first down, put ourselves in those second and manageable situations, get the odd explosive run and stuff like that to move the chains on first down. So that's something that's certainly been a concerted effort this week and something we expect to be better going into Montreal.
That's Edmonton Elks offense coordinator Jordan McSimic. Jay was in conversation with him yesterday at Walkthrough. And I'll say, when you came back and talked about Walkthrough and your conversation with McSimic, it did calm me down, and listening to that clip calms me down in terms of the fear I had going into this season was Jordan McSimic's reputation out in BC was good running backs, went away from the run way more than you even should. Just, it was so pass heavy that it's easier to defend as a defense. Okay, we only have to worry about one facet of the game. They're not going to run. We just have to worry about the pass. And after week one, you're going, okay, well, got these two running backs, Jordan. But to hear him say, no, we want this commitment. We have two very talented backs. We just need to get them going. That's important. And the part to this I will say is, dude, you need to get both going because they're so different and they can attack in such different ways. You need to make sure that, Rankin is going, but so is Leak, because Leak could go attack around the tackles, whereas Rankin could come through the middle. And then they both have their speed. Different, like Leak is obviously extremely fast, but Rankin's a pretty fast dude too. If he has that open space, it's just so important to get both those going, because then, we saw it in week one, when something breaks down passing wise, or if there is that situation where there's that blitz, Trey can get around it and then he could run. And then at that point, if you can establish the two running games plus the breaking case of emergency running game of Trey Ford, I just don't know how you stop that if you're defenses.
Well, and you know what? A really good way to make it easy on Trey Ford and get a player like Javon Leake going, toss in a screen. Toss in a little bubble screen or out of the backfield or a full-fledged screen. We didn't see one of those in week one. And I think with playmakers, especially like Javon Leake, who in the open field, there's no telling what might happen. One guy misses and that Javon Leake's taking it to the house. I mean, we all saw his speed last year, and last year he was faster than any player in the NFL. I mean, get the ball in his hands away from traffic, out in the open. I don't care how, just do it. And hey, if one guy makes a tackle, good on you. That's a heck of a tackle. If he doesn't, that could spell trouble.
This is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Matt Iwanyk, Jay Milne with you here live right on Edmonton Sports Talk with your choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. The question of the night: where do the Elks need to grow the most after week one? Offense, defense, kicking, or other? Please specify. Offense leading the way, kicking is second, and defense is third. Let's get to our second story of the game, and it is winning second down, especially on the defense. If there's one thing we're going to look at with the defense, well, there's a few good things to look at from the defense from week one. 2 third down stops, held the BC Lions to just 3 points through the first half. But as I look into the second half, great job on first down. Great job forcing a lot of second and longs for the BC Lions. The flip side to that, though, not a good job stopping them on second downs. The BC Lions overall completed 70% of their second down conversions, 62% on second and longs, though, which is just way, way too much. Overall, the BC Lions, they were forced to 20 second down opportunities, which is quite a bit.
Many.
They just, well, but hey, not converting 20 of them.
No, but
but they were,
I'm sorry. I mean, if they're second and long.
No, just overall, it was 20. And the problem is you allowed them to convert on way too many of those. Those timely sacks.
And a lot of those were
timely
second
pressures. There was a lot that were second. I think it was 14 of them.
Yeah.
Might have been second and long. It just, now one, Nathan Rourke made some great plays. And we have to remember that from that first week, is that Nathan Rourke is a very special talent. He made a couple of, as much as we praised Trey's runs in that one, Nathan Rourke made a couple really nice runs, getting around pressure to make those, turn first, second, and long opportunities, potential third down and long into first down instead. But that's the thing that Elks defense needs to work on. You did a great job on first down, but how do you execute better on that second down? Do you think we'll see less aggressiveness maybe from JC Sherritt on the second downs?
I don't know. And I don't know if I want to see less aggressiveness. I don't mind the aggressiveness, but your secondary needs to do their job.
Okay, is that secondary or
yes.
is that the D-line? And they're not getting to the quarterback? Because I will say this, how many times do we feel like, because the Elks got 0 sacks in that game. How many times did they actually get real pressure? Because I don't think there was a some. But
yeah, and there was a lot of times that they were in the backfield, they just missed the tackles, right? So if you're in a blitz package and you're sending extra people, that puts more pressure on your secondary. Rugamba had a tough night. He got beat twice in one-on-one situations when they were in cover 0, which cover 0 is when you're all alone. You don't have any help. You're one-on-one. But at the same time, that defense needs to get the pressure. The defensive front and those blitzing need to make those plays, need to make those tackles and not let Rourke out of the quarterback or out of the pocket like they did. Now, here's the thing. Edmonton didn't have any sacks in that first game. Montreal has given up 2 sacks per game thus far. Tonight might be different. I think one thing that, I said earlier and maybe we can bring up right now. I think BC's pretty dang good with a healthy Nathan Rourke. I think they're pretty good.
Outside of playing BC, Winnipeg. Winnipeg just has their number.
Well, and that is Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Right? But watch that tonight. I would imagine the Elks will get home once or twice tonight. And I like that from a defense coordinator. That tells, me watching you at the stadium, that guy has belief in that defense because he's putting them in one-on-one island situations over and over again. They didn't get home, but maybe that changes tonight. I would keep up with that pressure.
I would also have to wonder if you get home early in that game too, and you lay a good hit on Davis Alexander, is he going to remember that the next time pressure's coming and force that ball out just a split second sooner?
He may.
Because, well, they're getting to me, that I got to get rid of this ball, and that might allow your secondary, okay, well, they're going to then go make that play because there's not that half second or whatever it is for that receiver to get a few extra yards away from the secondary or something. Getting to him, I think, early too, and letting him feel a little bit of the pain of going to the field. Maybe that helps you down the line where then Davis Alexander, maybe Nathan Rourke in that game knew, I can hold on to this ball at a little extra because in the end, they're not going to get to me. And I will go hit Stanley Berryhill III for another touchdown. I just have to hold on a little bit longer, let him get a little bit more down the field, and I've got this. Whereas if you can get to him early, maybe it's okay, I got to rush this ball a little bit more because this Elks defense, they are getting to me. I'm with you. I don't want to lose that aggressiveness.
No, because over time, you're a Baltimore Ravens guy.
Yes.
You know what that does over time.
What you want.
Right?
Well, and the Elks, the last time this franchise won a Grey Cup in 2015, they were a very aggressive defense.
Do it.
And it comes down to that execution. And I think it's there. And I think if you keep doing this, hopefully these players are good enough to learn from their mistakes. And I think that most of these guys are good enough or have been around long enough or have played football long enough to grow and develop and get better. And hopefully we see that tonight. So the second story of tonight's game, it's overall second down defense for the Edmonton Elks. Can they get better conversions? Davis Alexander, by the way, in his first game against Toronto, carried the ball 4 times for 50 yards, his longest being 15. Against Ottawa in the victory last week, only 1 carry for 3 yards. So it slightly can move his legs, but I don't think as much as Nathan Rourke.
Nor is he as strong in the bottom half as Nathan Rourke is. Nathan Rourke fought off tackles. I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Third story of the game. Kicking. 1 for 2 on extra points out in BC. 0 for 2 on field goals. There's just nothing else that could be said, but it has to be better.
Well, it can't get much worse. So
he could go 0 for 2 on the extra points and 0 for 2 on the field
I mean
goals.
that honestly and sincerely. It almost can't get worse.
If we see something similar, there will be a change in kicker for next week. Guaranteed.
Well, I think, who was it? Big Uke earlier in the nasty chat. He said, yeah, this game is likely his last chance, though. If he goes out and misses an extra point and 2 field goals, got to move on. And I agree with that 100%. I'm surprised there wasn't competition in camp, but I will go back to my point and the belief that Mark Killam has in this player and seemingly the team. I mean, it's a tough place to be, especially when things aren't going your way. You're on an island as a kicker at practice and in team. It is what it is. So if things aren't going your way, it's tougher to deal with. But Mark Killam spoke very highly of this player, believes in this player. So I got to believe that a guy that's been around special teams for that long, when he says something like that, you got to kind of take his word for it.
I will, but I will say that there has to be a number, though, to that. If he doesn't make a kick today field goal wise, let's say he has 3 opportunities and he misses all 3.
That's not good.
You can't continue with that.
You can't.
Because how can you go as a coach, go into the defense or the offensive rooms and go, when you make a mistake, I'm going to hold you accountable. When you've got this other guy and you're not holding him accountable in any way, shape, or form. It's also just demoralizing where you get into a spot where you can put up points. And if you're missing time and time again and you're getting 0 of those points, that's rough. I think, okay, I'm going to say 4. I feel like it's 50% he can maybe survive. Maybe, I don't think 1 of 2. 1 of 2 would be interesting. If he's like 2 of 3, if he's 2 of 4, I could see them sitting there going, we're seeing the growth, we're seeing development. And I think some people can live with that. And there's the Mark Killam going, we don't want to, pass on someone that is young, that we believe that can get there. And it isn't just Rene Paredes. There's other kickers you can go back to that struggled at the start of their career, figured it out, and became longtime kickers in this league.
Yep.
But there has to be a number. There has to be a number for Ed Hervey right now where he's going
75%.
You think it's
that's
that
a passable
high?
grade. Anything below that, you're questioning. Anything below 50 is a non-passing grade, and
yes.
and something
like 2
needs
of
to
4
happen.
though.
2 of 4, depending on the kicks, Matty. Right? And you know this. You've said this before that missing a 50-yard kick
missing
is
in the 40s.
Yeah.
If he's missing a 42 and a 45-yarder,
if he misses an extra point,
that's a tough one.
That's a tough look. But
I can live with those. as long as he's making the field goals.
No.
To start, I could live with those.
I'm quite the opposite, actually. I think if you cannot manage to make a point after attempt, you may not get asked to go out and have field goal attempts. But
where this also makes this game interesting, because we saw it a little bit in BC. Like if he goes out there, let's say the Elks have an opportunity, 43-yard field goal, makes it. Great. But if he misses it, now as a team, it's what will go into the heads of not just the players, but it will have to go in the heads of Mark Killam and Jordan McSimic.
Absolutely.
Well, when do we have to go for third downs, and when can we just trust our kicker? If it's 3rd and 4, we're at the Montreal 41. Or I guess 37, let's say. Do we go for it? It's too close to punt. We can't trust this kicker, so we have to go for it, which to a degree I'm not so angry about.
In that
I do
case,
love going for it a little bit more.
In that case, you're just going to have to reside with going for it.
But that's where it's like you can't have someone on the roster where you're having to make those decisions.
Absolutely not.
And when, that's going to be in the minds of the coaches as they start this.
Then
the very first drive, the Edmonton Elks, they're not going to not let him go out there and kick. And you're right, he has a leg. But if they're sitting there going a 47-yard field goal or go for 3rd and 5 on that first drive, they're going to send out the field goal unit. But they're going to be like, oh my, is this the right decision?
I think that early in the game, they're not going to be thinking that. They're going to say, yeah.
They're going to go send them out, but I don't think they're confident in it.
Here's a great opportunity for a young player in the CFL to come out and say, the hell with it. I'm going to make these kicks. I am a better kicker than what I showed in week 1. That's all you can ask for right now as an Elks fan. And have belief that what Coach Killam is saying about him will hold up.
Tango, I'm interested in seeing the crowd tonight. I hope it's a good one. Deacon St. John, do you think Fajardo will come into the game? Short yardage, yes. Beyond that, unless there's an injury to Trey Ford, no.
Other than short yardage, you don't really want to see Cody Fajardo in the game if you're an Elks fan.
I have one alternative. The Elks are up 42-7.
Oh, wow.
Late in the 4th quarter. Give Cody some garbage time.
Are you feeling okay?
I'm just saying that there's the only other opportunity I could see.
Very glass half full thing of you to say. That's very unlike you.
No, the Elks have come into this season and they have said that they're giving Trey, he's the starter. And you're not pulling that leash too soon. Now, look, and this isn't even going against the starter. If things are reverse, if it's 35-0 at half, you got to make it change.
Yes.
Those type of things you have to. There are certain situations where no matter what, like if Tom Brady was the starting quarterback, he would still get pulled in situations. But for what we'd expect for a regular style football game, I don't see why Cody Fajardo would draw into this game to be outside of that short yardage. I don't even think that this is different for last year with MBT and Trey. And the argument was, can you do packages for Trey? They were such different quarterbacks that you can mess with defenses by doing different things. And Trey just had that unique ability with his run. Cody has more of a similar style to Trey. I don't know what it brings you to throw him out there for a couple plays. In fact, I think it's counter to what you're trying to do. Is it's building a rhythm as an offense. So no, I don't think we will see Cody Fajardo come into this game, like I said, outside of short yardage or an injury.
Chris Sadaway says, didn't the Elks have the same thought process with Faithful? Eventually, he earned the trust. How much trust did Dean Faithful earn, though?
Yeah, I don't think he earned that much. Dean was a guy that I trusted within 40. Didn't trust him longer.
And what was his trait? Hell of a leg.
No, I thought he had short leg.
No, he can boom the ball.
He had that one game against Hamilton where he didn't even come close. Blanchard, that's actually the one. Actually, if you want to compare this to Dean Faithful, if we go back and look at Dean Faithful's misses, he sprayed them. There was lefts, there was rights, there was shorts.
At least Blanchard was consistently missing to the teeny beanie left.
But that's where I have and that's where I could see Mark Killam and maybe this team having confidence and going, we just need to technically work on something because we just need him to get it a little more right.
That's a great point.
And maybe he just has to stand facing an inch to the other way. Like whatever his plan is. There's a clock right there that says Thursday. Instead, I have to look at where it says June.
Okay, we could do a quick one here, but before we leave and it's game time. But remedies for Vincent Blanchard missing just a teeny bit to the left. Wrong answers only. Send him in. In the inbox, 780-218-9999, or in the nasty chat. Let's hear what you got to say.
Like, just stand a little more looking to the right.
I was going to say, why don't you just put like a Ritz cracker under the left side of the T, so it's just a little bit.
Take one sock off.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would help. And just change his equilibrium so that it goes and it goes through. That'd be something. But that's where I will say I have the confidence in this team and with Blanchard figuring out, because it was a consistent miss. You know what that one miss is, and maybe that screams to me technical. And it doesn't scream to me that he had the yips as much fully. This stage is overwhelming him. It's this one spot, and if he corrects something, maybe it's just one thing, and boom, it's going through the uprights.
Penner's Pancakes in the nasty chat. So what would be considered a good, successful home opener crowd? 25,000? He says, sun out now. If they get 25,000 fans out, I would be shocked.
Yeah.
That would be a very good turnout.
Makes me so sad.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's the truth. It's the reality, Matty.
I think what hurts for the Edmonton Elks, and we're all the Oilers
fatigue.
Run. Well, the Oilers run doesn't help. Yeah. Is that the fatigue you're talking about?
Yes.
A lot of people spent a lot of money. A lot of people were partying. A lot of people were going out. There was just a lot of, even if you're staying at home for every game, there was a lot of commitment to the Edmonton Oilers, and people need a little bit of a break of just everything, even sports, of seeing people, so that part doesn't hurt. The financial part of that doesn't help for the Elks. And then the forecast all week has not looked good. All week when I've gone Environment Canada, and all week all I've seen on Thursday is just Thursday rain, Thursday rain, Thursday rain. And as you get closer, you could find out, okay, what is the forecast and when is the rain? But if you're planning ahead of time, you're saying, it's raining on Thursday, I don't want to go. Plus it's a Thursday, and there's still school tomorrow. Even tailgate. I know for tailgates, for some people it's a little harder to get this. So it's 3 hours before, but today it's one that's going to be a little less. So there's a lot of factors that go into this one, where it's now the sun's out, but it wasn't sunny earlier today. As you're driving to work, when I was driving to work, my wipers were going. It was coming. You're not sitting there like, you know what I should do tonight? Go to the Elks game. Look at this. I want to be at the Elks game in this. And you're not thinking of the forecast. So if they could get 20, I'd be very happy for this franchise.
And Penner's Pancakes again is saying, amazing that one ticket for Game 5 could get you 10 plus years of Double E season tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Sad but true.
Big U, the one shoe just tighter than the other. For Vincent Blanchard. So that's I hope we see a good crowd. But one thing the Edmonton Elks have to do to get a crowd?
Win.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Go win a couple.
Well, it's not easy to win, but it sounds easy.
The business plan of running a sports franchise.
Win, baby.
Yeah. win some football games. And we've seen it the last couple of years. This team has gone on a run both at the same time-ish, August into September. And what did we see? We saw the crowd start coming back. We saw fans come back to Commonwealth Stadium. That's what they have to do. They need to go win some football games. A Thursday doesn't help. Their next home game is a Sunday, and it's in July 6th. So hopefully the weather's nice for that one, but it's also a Sunday as we get into summer. That one I would be expecting. I would want to see more of the 25,000. Right now, as long as the forecast looks good going into that one, I'd want to see a 25,000. For today, I can understand why hopefully maybe they can see 20.
How about this? Scalding Gord in the inbox. How about two left shoes? I
think Scalding Gord came into the office to pick something up today.
Oh, that was him. Yes.
I just saw him as I was bolting because I had to go buy a printer that I didn't go buy. So
sad. Sorry about that, Matt.
It's a commitment.
I know the printer means a lot to you, but just wait, Matt. Be patient. Patience is a virtue.
I know, but there's one for $400 that I was set on buying, but then the guy talked. He's like, no,
$400. Those big bucks.
Well, the other ones I'm looking at are like $6.
Oh God.
But he said that this one I was looking at was on sale not that long ago for like $1.50 cheaper. I'm like, that's the one I want because it's the Brother. Apparently, Brothers are really good, and Canons are not.
Hold the line, Matt. You wait.
Well, now Dusty's going to probably come in and think he's getting a new printer as he comes in here.
When's he coming in here?
In the morning tomorrow.
Oh.
And I won't have time to talk to him.
Well, don't worry about it. The printer works.
It's just time for the laser. It's time for the laser printer. Edmonton Elks. Montreal Alouettes coming up in a little over 10 minutes time down at Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The Elks looking for their first win of the season. First win in the month of June since 2019. This is the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Matt Iwanyk, Jay Milne with you here. If you aren't heading down to the game, watching it on TSN, you'll see our boy Tom Gazzola on the sidelines. Our boy Dustin Nilsson's not on the call. Rod Smith and Dwayne Ford will be on the call. And if you were going down to the game, not much time left before the game starts. Hopefully you would have had a time, though, to possibly go see Trev and Benny at the tailgate because they were there. We will get to our predictions for this game as well. We've got just a few more minutes left here on the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. McDiesel, haven't used the printer since 2005. Well, look at all these papers we have right now. We are different. Matt at the Garrison, I'm taking the kids to the July 6th game.
Good.
Yeah.
I do. How do I say it? I'm going to miss out on not being able to take my kids to the game. Hopefully one day that can change.
Hopefully one day.
Hopefully one day. There's hope, people.
You have a few more minutes before it comes off Play Alberta. Click on ESD specials. Jay and Matt's big play of the game. Elks plus 7.5. Elks defense with interception or a fumble. Justin Rankin, 50-plus rushing yards. Trey Ford, 225 yards passing and rushing combined. That is plus 450. You could get on Jay's play of the day. Justin Rankin, 75-plus rushing yards. That's plus 210. The early bird bet from Dusty today, Elks plus 7.5. Stingers plus 7.5. That's at plus 225. Daily specials, or just click on ESD specials at Play Alberta, playalberta.ca. Stealth Legends. If we start 0-2, does that leave us in a bad spot for the rest of the season? Here's what I'll tell you, Stealth. For a number of months, I've been saying the Edmonton Elks will start off 0-3.
This is true.
But I also predicted the Elks to win 10 games after that. This is a tough part of their schedule. Going to BC is not easy. Playing Montreal, who we thought were going to be the best teams in the East, not easy. And going to Winnipeg, this team doesn't win in Winnipeg. And the Bombers showed last week, you still can't count them out until they are done. They are still the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But after that, there are games. In fact, there is a BC one still in there, but they're coming here. But I don't think it sets this team up in a terrible spot, but it puts a lot of pressure on that Ottawa game, I will say, because if you start 0-3 and then drop that Ottawa one and you're 0-4, oh boy, the snowball and that avalanche coming down the hill, it's just going to pick up a little bit more steam. And that is not good. So imagine if you could get a win tonight, or imagine if you can get a win against Winnipeg, or pick up both of these and what that could do for the season. But no, I don't think it puts them in a bad spot for the rest of the season, but it does put them behind the 8 ball to start. Keys to an Elks victory tonight, Jay.
Well, 4 words, Matt. No, look, run the ball. But here, I'm going to change my tune a bit. This team needs to come out firing early on offense and early on defense. If this team comes out flat, I have no idea how bad and ugly the score is going to get. Early. That is my one word. Get it going early. Matt?
Get it going early. My key to an Elks victory, second down defense. Get your stops.
I like it.
Stops. I believe that this team is going to force good second and longs again. It's not even just second down stops. It's the second and long stops. There's going to be opportunities where they're going to be 2nd and 3 and they're going to convert some of those. That's football. But when it's 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, get off that field. Make one more play and get off that field and let your offense do something. That is going to be the key to this game. If you give up 70% on second downs again, if you give up 62% on second down conversions or second and longs, I don't care what the offense is going to do tonight. They are not at a position right now where they're going to go put up 40, 50 points to outmatch what you are giving up. Second down conversions. That's where I go to on the Edmonton Elks. Deacon St. John, Elks, keep it close. Big Uke, first early, often more. Same 4 things I said before every Oiler game. Let's go. Jay, prediction.
28-24, Elks.
Wow. You're not just saying the Elks are covering the 7.5. You would just take them on the money line.
Why wouldn't I?
Plus 175 on that money line. The spread's dropped to 5.5 as the show's gone on.
People are listening, Matt.
The money line I thought was plus 200 when we first got to our game day odds check at the start of the show for Play Alberta.
It was higher than it is now.
Yeah, it's dropping. People are seeing. People are seeing.
People are listening to the Green and Gold Kickoff Show.
And they are believing. Edmonton Elks, Montreal Alouettes coming up in a few minutes down at Commonwealth Stadium. Once it's over, you know where to go. Right here. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. We've got the Green and Gold post-game show. Jay and Matt, we will be back with that right after this football game as we'll break it all down. We'll get your thoughts as well in the nasty chat. We'll get into the inbox. Also, Hernan might jump on the phone with a hit from the game. So I was talking with him about that. So we might even have a hit with Hernan Salas from down at Commonwealth Stadium. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. Elks coming up down at Commonwealth Stadium as they'll take on the Alouettes. On behalf of Jay, I am Matt. Thanks for tuning into the Green and Gold Kickoff Show here on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Edmonton Sports Talk. We got Stingers action in Red Deer as they take on Calgary in the Battle of Alberta in Central Alberta. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I like it actually.
That's coming up at 7:30 on our audio streams. Tune in, iHeart, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And like we said, as soon as this game ends, though, come to Edmonton Sports Talk on all of our platforms, including YouTube. We'll have the Green and Gold post-game show. Enjoy the football game. We'll talk to you once it's over.